creating and rebirthing a new world. It's time. And I'm sure that you all know this on a bunch of different levels. What I'm saying is that humanity has forgotten who we are and the primordial womb that we have all originated from. And unfortunately, as a result of this, we have become fragmented, disconnected, lost, and angry orphans, victims of this collective amnesia, who now violate, pollute, desecrate, and violently rape the holy wombs of our Earth Mother and her daughters who gave us human life. And it sounds like, from just the opening that I heard from Reverend Glancy, that this is something that you all are focusing on in terms of these original caretakers, indigenous folks who knew this, who honored the earth. And now our universe is undergoing this evolutionary and planetary shift. And we are in a time of major transition. And the momentum is building across the world to consciously rebirth a new world so that we can ascend back into our traditional knowing of who we are. Now, that sounds all nice and airy-fairy and what have you. And in order to really do that, the question I say to begin with is, do you really know who you are? Because if we don't know who we truly are, if we just playing this game, then the chaos, the disaster, which is going to happen anyway, is going to happen. However, we're going to be swept up in that rather than being able to rebirth something different. So the question that's asked, and some of this was already by Reverend Mary shared with you in terms of my bio, but the question for me is that this work is my covenant to what I refer to as the Great Mother. And the frequency that I carry in terms of my covenant is the keeper of the serpent wisdom. And that serpent wisdom for many is referred to as Kundalini. So it's from the root to the crown. And how do we move this sacred life force energy from the root to the crown? And so as a Mafarael, working with what's often referred to as sexual energy, and I refer to it as this sacred creation, creative energy, and I'm the keeper of this serpent wisdom. A spiritual midwife, supporting those who are needing to rebirth themselves, ourselves. Now, this sacred knowing is what's guided me over the past 30 years. And reigniting these seeds of sacred feminine mysteries. This is work that, I won't even say work, this is a calling that is absolutely critical to me and answers that question of why me? And at this particular time, calling forth 1 million wombs to unite from around the world to consciously partake in this rebirthing. Now, the next question becomes, why you? And this is absolutely critical. And what I love about this in terms of why you, because this was the question for me before I finally tapped into why me, I started connecting again over 30 years ago with these sacred energy forces, which I refer to as the ancient mothers, who started speaking in another language to me and through me. However, I understood in the core of me what they were referencing. And so what they were saying to me, so I didn't make this up and just or find this on the internet. This is what they said to me that I'm sharing with you to see if the why you resonates. Do you remember who and what you were and where you were 10 billion trillion lifetimes ago? Come on, really? Do you remember your second dimensional self 45 million years ago as one of the aboriginal vibratory beams of molecular and atomic sound rays and bands of light that form the energetic grids spanning across the continents, linking the north and south poles to the Earth's axis, anchored deep down within the womb of the Earth Mother, whose breath still sustains life for all living beings today? Or do you really believe you just showed up 20, 30, 40, 50, or 60 years ago? Do you have any conscious knowing of how many dimensions you have existed within prior to being a third dimensional being, and what other universes you've traversed, and why you chose to incarnate within this universe and on this planet at this time? This goes on. The question becomes, do you really want to remember who you are and why you are here this time on the planet, in the universe? And when this started coming to me and through me, I thought to myself, you've got to be kidding. What are we talking about here? This is intense. And then I began to realize that many of our ancient indigenous ancestors, they knew this. They understood and knew who they were and why they were and where they originated from. So, as a part of our organization, we have 3 universal pillars. And these pillars are designed to help us to go through this process of really knowing thyself at the deepest core, cleansing and purifying those energies that keep us from living in alignment with our absolute truth. These are the 3 pillars. And what is so amazing with the know thyself is when I began to understand that our human beingness is created from our universal light frequency sonic blueprint. Yeah, we are all made up of frequency, which equals sound, which equals life force energy. And in knowing thyself, it is crucial for us to know what our light sonic blueprint is and how it contributes to us rebirthing this new world. So then we move on to cleanse and purify. Now, this is where it really, really, really gets juicy and delicious for me. Part of my life 30 years ago was as an actor, a stage actor. And, you know, I loved performing all these different roles and what have you. And then as the ancient mothers started communicating with me, I began to realize that, you know, what if we're part of a much greater role? And what is this cosmic story that we auditioned and rehearsed and are now starring in? What if that is just a role, just like we do on stage, in the movies? What if we are actually playing the role as this spiritual being in this human body of source that some refer to as God? But we've forgotten. Again, we're a part of this collective amnesia, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. However, if we really, really, really understood this and knew that we have the ability to, whatever our life story is, good, not good, indifferent, that we can rewrite our story and begin with the end in mind. Now, this begin with the end in mind, this is critical because we have to first and foremost look at what the world needs to be, how it needs to really be moving forward, the next generation after generation after generation. And so when we begin with the end in mind, that gives us the impetus, the juice to start rewriting this story so that we can then live in alignment with this absolute truth. Because we are imagining and envisioning a whole world that is rooted and grounded in self-worth, self-respect, self-care, luminous light workers, honoring, unconditional, personal, and universal love, compassion, accountability, sovereign leadership, integrity, responsibility, confident humility.